Welcome to another issue of Bentley's Backwoods Bushcrafting. In this episode, I'm going to discuss paste beads or ranger beads. So these are basically my basic set here. Just some cordage with 5 beads on top, 10 beads on bottom. And a lot of them you see only have the 4 and the 9, but I like having that invisible when there, so that I'm just able to keep track a little better. But there's a knot up here, knot in the middle, and a knot at the bottom, and the knot in the middle separates the two sets of beads. And this here is just a little booklet thing that I made for my own personal use, that it describes the different terrains. Like, for example, unencumbered open ground is how I found my pace count, and of course full packed open ground, uphill, encumbered, and unencumbered, and uneven ground, wet, swampy, and slushy area, and then wilderness being like trees and stuff like that. But this page discusses how I work the beads if I'm looking for feet and miles, and then I have one where I'm working meters and kilometers. And it's just general information. This page here tells me how to calculate all of the information that I keep. And this right here is a page that starts with one step, and I break each of them down into feet, yards, and meters. So I keep track of that, and eventually I'll have it all the way to a mile. But right now I don't have it that far. Right now it only goes up to 200 paces. But basically, how it works is once you get your pace count, and when I'm talking meters, my pace count is 63, and if I'm talking where I'm working feet and miles, I work off of 100 steps. So the way I work it, and it's a little different. It's a little different than what I normally see, because I use the top 5 beads for more than just actually counting miles. Like, once you hit 1 mile, the one top bead will come down. But I use it a little bit differently. And so what I do when I'm working feet and miles, every 20 steps I'll lower one of my small beads, or one of the top beads on the top. So it's 20, 40, 60, 80, and then 100. Now that tells me to drop one of the lower beads. So, and I continue to do that until I completely drop all the lower beads. Once I drop all the lower beads, that's 1 mile. And the reason I do that, for many reasons, but the biggest reason is that I'm easily distracted. And if I had to count 100 steps and then drop a bottom bead, then another 100, and then another 100, I would probably lose count and get all mixed up. So that's why I broke down the 100 steps for the bottom beads into these 5 beads up here. So for every 20 steps, I just drop me a top bead, and then I continue until I get those 100 steps. And once I get those 100 steps, I drop one of my lower beads. So that'll take me up to 1 mile. Now, when I'm working with meters and kilometers, it's a little bit different. It's the bottom beads are 63. So once I hit 63 pace count, I can lower a bottom bead. But then again, like I said, for me to try to keep track of 63 steps, 63 steps, 63 steps, and continue like that, I'm going to get distracted, and I'm probably going to lose count. So I break it down, and I round it off really when I'm actually doing the pace, when I use the meters. But it comes out to 12.6 for my first bead. Then it's 25.2, 37.8, 50.4, and then 63 steps. Once I get those done, then I can drop a lower bead. And it works the same, and that gives me 1 kilometer, which is a little over half a mile. It's like 0.6. So it's a little bit over a half a mile when I work kilometers. But that's how I work my my pace count and my Ranger beads there. So it's a little different than what I normally see, but as I said before, I tend to lose count and everything. But this little booklet here, I discussed this for a minute. It's just a little thing that I made, and you know, to find your pace count, you know, you just mark off a particular distance that you know for a fact what it is, and then you just walk that distance several times to determine what your pace count is, and that's how I found my pace count. And here's a small little written diagram for the beads, and this is for the when I use feet and miles. So each top bead here is, the first one's 106 feet, which is 20 steps, and it just keeps going down to 528.3 feet, which is 100 steps, and then that lowers one of the bottom beads, which goes to this chart over here, and it just continues on down until I get to the 10th bead, which is 5,283 feet, which is 1,000 steps and is 1 mile. So in this right here, I got the calculations so that I can figure out to put my pace count into feet and into yards and into meters. So, and then this just tells me how to do it in case I ever forgot. So, and then some more information about the meters and the feetage. And right here is an actual by step account. Each step equals feet, yards, and meters. So, for example, if I go over here, say 35 steps is 185.5 feet, 61.8 yards, and 55.6 meters. So at any point, and eventually I'm going to have this all the way out to the mile. But that way I can keep this with me, and if for some reason, you know, I get mixed up or lose count or whatever, I can go to this chart and find a specific pace that I can use. So it helps me out with my pace speeds. So anyway, thanks for watching, and please watch my other videos. Leave comments, let me know what you think about them, what you'd like to see. Just start communicating with me. I'd appreciate that. And just to let you know, I'm only 2 more subscribers away from hitting my goal of 100, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcrafting.